Hello, I'm Juliet Fraser. I'm a soprano based in London, and I'm sitting here in my pyjamas because, well, this is the reality of lockdown living at the moment, and I thought I might never have a better excuse to do an interview in my pyjamas. I'm really pleased to talk a bit about my new CD released on Huddersfield Contemporary Records, which is called Spilled Out from Tangles. It's a collection of 4 recent works for voice and tape, or multi-tracked voice, or voice and electronics, which were written for me by Lisa Illean, Sivan Eldar, Nomi Epstein, and Laurence Dunn. I started exploring the repertoire for voice and tape probably about 10 years ago when I was looking for solo repertoire that I could do in programmes completely alone. There's quite a lot of repertoire for unaccompanied voice, lots of Georges Apergis amongst other things, which I was exploring back then. But I also came across 2 early voice and tape pieces, one by Michael Finnessy called Same As We, and of course Morton Feldman's 3 Voices. I've continued to be interested in that repertoire, I suppose partly because of the independence that it gives me on stage, and also because I think the concept of either multiplying one single performer's voice or combining that live voice with other pre-recorded material is really interesting. Alongside digging out those existing bits of repertoire for voice and tape or voice and electronics, I started commissioning some works by younger generation composers. And this album is in part a collection of those. Lisa Illean wrote her piece A Through-Grown Earth for me in 2017, and that sets some texts by Gerard Manley Hopkins, beautiful texts which are exploring the beauty and fragility of the natural world. I met Sivan Eldar, I think, also in that year 2017 at Royaumont in France, and she was commissioned to write a piece for Exaudi for the following year, 2018, which is called Heave, and which sets a text by the British playwright Cordelia Lynn, the 2 of them having worked closely together a lot. And when I was planning this album, I approached Sivan about revising this piece for Exaudi for a version for solo voice, and indeed that's what we've done. I met Nomi Epstein when I was on tour in the States 3 years ago, so 2017. She's based in Chicago. And she came over to participate in the symposium of the little series that I run called Eavesdropping, in 2018, and it was at that point that she asked if she could write me a piece, which is called Collections for Juliet, which is part of a larger series of works for solo performers called Collections for whoever the given performer is. That piece is really interesting because it's a text score with a series of instructions which tells me what to do in the studio, essentially to record a whole collection of glissandi, and then the instructions for how to assemble them in post-production. And what interests me about that piece is that I'm given a lot of control over how to shape the material afterwards. So that felt like an unusually creative process in a way, very different from interpreting, but straying perhaps more into the territory of a composer. The last piece on the disc by Laurence Dunn is not actually a piece that I commissioned, but he wrote it for me when he was a student at Huddersfield University as part of a workshop I was doing there. And it's a rare example of a workshop piece that I've taken into my repertoire. His piece is called While We Are Both, and it sets a short poem by Caitlin Doherty. It's a very, very beautiful piece. With pre-recorded, synthesized playback, I think is how he terms it. It's an interesting survey, I think, of 4 quite different approaches to the voice by a collection of composers in their 30s and 40s. What appeals to me about this repertoire, beside the fact that it was written for me and I suppose to a degree is tailored both to my voice and to my personality, is, I think, the embracing of the inherent physicality of the voice, which I feel is something that is sometimes rather put to one side, and also the lyricism that's in a lot of the pieces. Lisa's and Sivan's in particular, I think, respond very strongly to the text that they're working with, and have a real sensitivity both to the text but also to the natural lyricism of the human voice. So I hope you enjoy it. That's my latest collection of new works for you, entitled, as I said, Spilled Out from Tangles. And I'd just like to thank very much the team at Huddersfield Contemporary Records for their support throughout this project. Also my amazing studio team, Newton Armstrong and Mark Knoop, and funders, because I was supported with a little grant from Arts Council England. So thank you to everybody, and I hope you enjoy the disc.